Make no mistake, these corporations are getting really, really rich off this policy from your pockets, right? And our senators and our congressmen know about it. And they pretend they don't know what's happening because the corporation prison lobby is just as strong as the gun lobby. And we never talk about it. And they're not only doing it to immigrants, they're doing it to people of color in the United States in federal prisons as well. When you're talking about how we might be able to make a difference on this, let's shut down the corporations that are getting rich off of putting babies in prison. Right? That's something we can do as American taxpayers and American consumers. I mean, I say like, oh, let's do it. The NRA is like has our Congress in a death grip, but this is the stuff we need to be talking about. We all know babies don't belong in cages, but how much are we talking about rich people on the stock exchange getting rich off of corporate detention? This is the complexities that we need to start bringing up in our conversations with people around us. So Trump said, great, we'll just go back to the policy of family detention. And all these people today were like, yeah, we win, ending family separation. And all the lawyers I've been working with for almost half a decade to try and end family detention were like, what? This was the worst thing we'd ever seen up until a month ago. And now we're acting like this is a victory? It's not. But here's the good thing. We have everyone paying attention. We never had anyone paying this much attention. I gave all kinds of talks about family detention in 2014, and there'd be like 3 people in the room. And I'd be like weeping and crying and like, but we have 400 or something people who signed up for this talk. So we can use the energy that we have against family separation and say, no, Trump. Not only do we need to end family separation, we need to end family detention. We need to end corporate detention. We need to end the assault on people who are lawfully seeking asylum in our country. And that's how we can move. Like, we can't just say, like, oh, we won, whatever. I was, like, afraid no one was going to show up because that order came, like, oh, whatever. This isn't important anymore. We have to pivot from this moment, right? And we have to say, look, we can't hurt children. Ripping children from their parents is so bad, but guess what? So is detaining them in federal facilities. So is making them wait indefinitely in a prison because they need to assert their right to asylum in places where they can't have a lawyer. Getting medical neglect. In the prison we work for, waking up every 3 hours for a count, right? Put the floodlights on, stand by your bed, and get counted every 3 hours. Try getting a good night's sleep. 18 months of that. See how crazy you are when you get out. Treating people like criminals who have not committed a single crime when they came to this country to ask for protection. Jumpsuits, barbed wire, counts, segregation, solitary confinement, food so disgusting that people won't even eat it even though they've lost 40 pounds during their time in prison. We can end that, but we have to maintain this energy. Are you guys tired? I kind of am. Okay, so then the big question is, everyone emailed me like, cool, we want to hear your lecture and whatever, but we really want to hear what can we do, right? And this is a super tricky question. I really wish that I could stand here on the stage and be like, let me tell you what you can do. I know how to solve this problem. But the solutions are not forthcoming, right? Movements, social justice movements, organizing, it has to be like sustained organizing, commitment, and they take a long time. I think we live in this time of like all this satisfaction coming from the internet in terms of like, oh, well, click here and something will happen. And people want something. They're like, hey, Allegra, send me something that I can click on that will make me feel less outraged and make me feel less sad and make me feel like I'm doing something. Well, if you want to click on something, if that's your thing, cool, that's my thing, I'm lazy. Click on a donate button for a legal services nonprofit. Click on a donate button for the ACLU, the Women's Refugee Commission, for the Center on Gender and Refugee Studies, for the National Immigrant Law Center. There's people who are going to be taking Trump to court in the morning. Give money to their litigation funds. Click on a bond fund. All these parents who are imprisoned. Oh, the Trump administration is going to get the shit suit out of them. Right. Like, that's what's going to happen in the morning, if it hasn't happened yet. The ACLU, the American Immigration Council, the Women's Refugee Commission, the Center on Gender and Refugee Studies, the National Immigrant Justice Center. These are all massive policy groups on the national level who will be litigating this, whose teams are in the office right now figuring out how to litigate this executive order the same way they did with the Muslim ban. And if you're not giving to litigation, if you're not giving to grassroots direct legal services, give to bond funds. These people get into jail and judges say, great, you can go, but you need $7,000. Do you know how much it costs to pay a coyote to come up from Central America? Somewhere between $5,000 and $10,000. Where is someone going to get $7,000 to pay bond? But now, Raices, that's RAICES, has a bond fund. Their organization in Texas, they raised something like, I don't know what the latest update is, it's like $20 million for their bond fund in the last 2 days. And I was just in my office, because, I do the bookkeeping in my office, and I get a $100 donation, and I'm like, woo! But I was thinking, what? Oh my God, their bookkeeper, they just got $20 million of donations. Our bookkeeper's over there. $20 million of donations from a million people across the country. It's such a nightmare. So donate to legal services, donate to grassroots groups, donate to litigation, and donate to bond funds. Here's another thing that sometimes people don't think about during those border crises, though, is that we live in a community that we support our immigrants. Do you care about immigrants? Donate to a bond fund. Also donate to Santa Fe Public Schools. That is the #1 agency in our town that supports immigrants, is Santa Fe Public Schools. Our hospital, La Familia. You want to talk about an agency that supports immigrants? La Familia Medical Center, right? Do you want to support immigrants in this town? Work on affordable housing policies, right? These are people who live in our town. And immigrant justice isn't about throwing yourself at the border. As fun as that is and as sexy as it seems, I know, right? It's about creating justice and creating progress for the people who live among us, who haven't been to the border in 20 years, but deserve as much care and deserve as much thought and deserve to feel as safe from family separation as those kids on the border do. Because when an ICE officer comes into this community and arrests the dad, that is family separation. And we need to start paying attention to that. If you care about a kid being ripped from its mother's arms on the border, 3 weeks ago in this town, outside an elementary school, ICE arrested a dad and pulled him out of his car while he was driving his kids to school and left his kids alone on the side of the road outside the elementary school. That's family separation. And that's happening right here in our streets every day. So we have to also, it's a big job to consider all this, right? It's not easy. But we also have to consider the welfare of the immigrants who are living among us and support the agencies that are creating opportunities for them and making their families stronger, right? So always keep that in mind too. Here's one people don't always think of. Go out and support an immigrant-owned business, right? Santa Fe is filled with them. Change a restaurant you go to. Change the church you show up at. Go meet some immigrant neighbors. Go check out a different park. These are all things that we can do to integrate ourselves into the community, and they're not that hard, okay? We can call our congressmen, but can I just say something, and I'm sorry if it's met with boos. This is happening in plain sight of all of our congressmen. Yes. They know this is happening, and they have known this is happening for years. So if you think that in 2018 casting a Democratic vote in the voting booth is activism, you are wrong. The activism is getting in the face of that Democrat and saying, you work for me, bud, and our state, we're not going to have corporate prisons. We're not going to be detaining children. We're not going to allow ICE officers roaming our streets and ripping people out. But don't think that getting into a voting booth and casting a vote for a Democratic senator is going to stop this problem, because it's happened in front of all of them, and they're all taking payouts from these corporate correctional facilities. right? So it's time to hold them a little more accountable and do a little more than just like punching in the number and saying like, we support comprehensive immigration reform. Because that's all we're gonna get from them is like a thumbs up, like, yeah, comprehensive immigration reform. We can do better and we can hold these people more accountable. And if they can't answer to it, then we say, guess what? We're not gonna vote for you. I don't know what else to say. But that's how we exercise our vote and have to make them morally accountable for the atrocities that are happening right in our front yard. I mean, I'm gonna start screaming about this, so I have to stop. I'm looking at my list. Bond funds. Here's another thing we can do. Marches are being organized. Stay in touch. If you just like stay in touch with us, we'll let you know about the marches. They're going to be June 30th. I hear there's something June 7th. We're going to have a concert in the rail yard on July 7th. There's going to be all sorts of events where you can express your support and solidarity and gather for this. Do not let your rage dissipate simply because you stop seeing images of people being ripped apart on the border. I want to see everyone out at these events as they come the weeks. The goal of this executive order is to tell you guys to back off. Here you go. You don't want parents ripping their kids being ripped out of their arms. We won't rip their kids out of the arms. Great. You get what you want. Stop whining. That's what the administration wants from you. Keep whining. Raise hell. Learn about family detention. Learn about what's happening at our port of entries. They're telling asylum seekers at our port of entries that the border is closed. People come all the way from Honduras and they're told the border is closed. This is happening at every port of entry. Jeff Sessions, if you read the news, just destroyed the chance for political asylum for women who are victims of domestic violence. It used to be a particular social group. If you were a victim of domestic violence, under that asylum law, the violence had to be connected to something. That was something that you could connect it to. And Jeff Sessions said, nope. I'm gonna have this whole executive authority where I say no more. And it's working. We were in court this week, and the judge said, yeah, I don't know. A week ago, I would have granted this, but I'm just not so sure anymore. It's effective. This is not gonna stop simply because kids are not being ripped out of their parents' arms because you stop seeing pictures about it on the media, okay? The other thing I need everyone to do is resist using language that criminalizes immigrants. Never call someone an illegal. I don't care how much you love them. Never, ever, ever do it. Don't ever do it. And when people say, I just wish they would do it the right way, be like, dude, this is the right way. There is no other right way. And we can talk about other forms of migration and what the right way is. And that's a whole nother lecture I'm happy to give everyone about more normalized forms of migration, not asylum seekers, not refugee, and what the right way looks like. But let me just give you a little fact. Right now, if someone wants to petition for someone from El Salvador, let's say my sister was living in El Salvador and I'm a US citizen and I want to get her over here, it's a 14-year wait for her to come the right way. That isn't even a joke. People laugh in my face when we say that. It's a 14-year wait. So when her kid has a pistol to his head, and you go to your immigration lawyer and say, I'm ready for my sister's petition, and she says, we should have her here by, 2033, that's the right way. And so if someone's telling you smugly they can just follow the law, I suggest you ask them if they understand what the law is. And then you call me and be like, I have this friend Allegra who has a word she wants to say to you. You know what I mean? Resist people who want you to believe that these folks are criminals. It's been a 20-year, probably more, since 1996. It feels like yesterday, but it was 22 years ago. 22 years, basically, of this campaign to make you believe that immigrants are criminals. And once you believe that, to make you think that any punishment is appropriate for them because they're a criminal. You have to resist anyone who's trying to make you believe that. And you do it with your language, and you do it kindly, and you do it confidently. And you can all do that.